Well, the whole idea, I'll never forget when he told me that he was going to create this, GC experts, right? Government construction experts. Okay, Dad, we're the experts. But
Yeah.
the idea was that he was going to create like a jump start. If anybody ever wanted to get involved in the federal market, that they'd be able to bypass the 30-year education that he had. How do you feel about what was promised versus what you've experienced out there bidding and performing?
I would say over delivered. Or when you talk with your dad, maybe you're at this win the storm contest, or not contest, but win the storm things, that some seminars you guys go to and talk. What is that half hour to an hour where you tell people what you do?
Yeah.
You don't get, there's no way you can explain everything you guys do in a half hour or even a phone conversation. So when you go to your class, your training, your seminars, you don't get everything in the first one. You don't get everything in the second one. And you don't even realize. I never realized what all the experience you guys have, especially your dad at 40 years of federal government contracting. And then you talk about, well, yeah, I try my own cases. I go in front of the judge and I'm like, I would never do that. So your dad, and maybe you as well, you research stuff and you figure it out and then become the expert at it. And to go stand in front of the judge and try my own case against the federal government, that seems unreal. So I would never be in the position I am now, owning my own business. I got over $1 million, I think $1.5 million in contracts this year alone. Me and my wife started the business in December of 2022. And I got over $1.5 million in contracts this year alone.
Yeah, I think you mean December 2021, because I remember when you called me and said you wanted it. That was about a year ago.
2021, yeah, sorry. Yep, I started my own business, and my wife and I said, shoot, we can do this ourselves.
Yeah.
And I got over $1.5 million in contracts this year alone. To me, it's unfathomable to go into business. I don't have labor. I don't have tools. I just go hire the right people to get the job done. So overhead's minimal. It's awesome.
Yeah, I know. I called you on a business day last week and you told me you were hunting.
Well, yeah. I got to go out hunting.
Do you remember how you met GC Experts?
Yeah. It was back in like 2017 or 18, I think. I can't remember, but went to work for Mike Lindbergh with the plumber of the Black Hills. And he mentioned he had a problem. He got into GC Experts and he went to the class and landed a few projects, but he's busy on the plumbing side in his normal business. And when I talked to him, I said, well, I got nothing but time right now. So let's see what we can do. So I went to work for Mike and I got sent to the class in Texas. And that's why I met Doug and Sean, is through Mike by going to the class, the training in Texas. And
what do you remember most about it?
I guess my biggest takeaway, my first time there, I've been there 2 times and I've been through the virtual class twice now. My biggest takeaway was, if you have fear, you can put that aside. Just bust through the fear, call Doug or Sean, and they can take it away. Depend on according to the federal contracts. At first, it's like, this is not your normal construction contractor. This is not normal bidding process. I've been bidding projects for over 10 years before I went to work for Mike. So, as always, what is your cost? What is your cost? What is your cost? Find your cost, and then you change your pricing to get your markups, So one of the other big things is what is it worth? Who to the government? What is it worth to the government? Doesn't matter what it costs, as long as the worth is more than the cost, then we can talk and negotiate, you know? So, and that intrigued me in, like, when you talk about selling cars, you know, they don't, their cost is way lower than what they're selling it for. Yeah, and they got all the other stuff going on, but yeah.
So the market value is the big takeaway.
Yeah, market value.
So since you left, have there been any particular big home runs that you can think of off the top of your head?
Not huge. I actually do have one contract under the Granite Group that I'm going to be busting about 60% profit on a $150,000 project. So it's a big one, but it's not like $300,000 profit. I'm not there yet, but my goal was I'm going to do 30% or better on gross profits and see where we can come up with. But so that was probably the biggest one. 60% it's nice.
And how about the $100,000 letter? Have you used that much?
Twice. I've used it a couple times. One success. I can't remember how much it was for. You know, it wasn't $100,000, but I took parts of the letter to get, if I remember right, is in the $35,000 to $40,000, you know, negotiating pricing to. So I took parts of it and say, hey, this is why the price is what it is, you know. Sure. I used the letter and I have success with that, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you know, oftentimes people have described my dad as where they call him with what seems to be an impossible problem, and then Doug just somehow makes it probable. Have you had any particular phone call with my dad that sticks out in your head that?
I've had several phone calls with your dad. I've worked with him on a couple projects over the years. Like I said, one of my takeaways was if you got a fear of something, you just call Doug and he'll walk you through how to take care of it. I did have this spring or this summer, we had a contract that terminated for convenience, and I'm still negotiating with the government. You've been involved with that a little bit, Sean, but yeah, Doug sent me 5-6 documents explaining what termination for convenience is and what you can, you know, briefing papers, what you can put in your costs, you know, the cost for estimating the project, so to speak. I never would have thought you could have got paid for that on termination for convenience contract, but and the government doesn't know that either. Some of them, you got to explain it to them. So that was, you know, you talk about it in the class, termination for convenience. You talk about how you sometimes you can get paid up to the contract amount even though you don't finish the job. You talk about the cost you can include in there, even the cost of putting together your termination for convenience letters and documentation and all that. And so
thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome, and thank you guys. And I do want to thank Sean, you and Doug for the massive effort you put into GCExperts. It was a great undertaking, and you guys have done extremely well from what I have seen, and the service after the sale. I would say I'm going to call it service after sale. It don't stop after I sign up for GCExpert and I get the bit tracker and I'm going through it. I got a question, I can text, I can call, I can email, just depending on the urgency. And you guys are always there. You respond, hey, I'll get to that tomorrow, or hey, let's talk to the lawyer. Let's see what he thinks of this. You know, the experience you guys have and all the assets, I'd say that, you know, this guy, you know, that guy, you know, okay, let's do it this way because the experience I've had, I think it's going to go this way. So I want to thank you guys for that and helping my business grow. So,
Well, I got to tell you, Kevin, every issue that anybody could ever have in this business, we've probably already had it. And so with that kind of experience, we take it on as if it's our own problem. I think what you're saying there is that, you know, it's almost like I'm sitting there with you in this, you know, it's this your problem,
yeah,
it's my problem.
right, right.
And because we've been there, we know what it takes, and we know the struggles and you know the worries that come along with some issues in this business. And so yeah, the whole idea is you're not in this alone.
Yeah. And I know you're recording this, and I can say, you know, with confidence that you'll do what you need to do. But on the one, I was